Yeah, we've got some signs over here if y'all want signs. And there's little flags. Yeah, there's signs and flags.
We're going to line up behind us.
I think it's the 19th.
Maybe.
Well, like I said, we have this coming up on the 19th and all hands on deck. Tonight, the one that just was all need to stand up and support that. That's what I got to say. And if anybody has any questions, you can go to newsjustice.org/event page and see what we're doing, where we're going, and where we're trying to do.
After every speech, sit down with Stacey, that's marching over to the other services.
Y'all want some signs? Yeah, we've got some signs or some little last question. Sorry.
Before it starts? Just like 3?
Yes.
Okay. Which side? This side.
I'm rolling whenever you're ready.
Okay. First things first, we heard that he was moved to the Bastrop County Jail. Is that correct?
That is correct. He is in Bastrop County Jail right now.
How does it feel to say that?
It feels good because we believe that hopefully with this upcoming evidentiary hearing, he doesn't have to go back to Livingston. He doesn't have to go back to Pulaski death row.
When he was there, were you able to see him at all?
When he was where?
Yeah, at death row. Like.
Yes, I visited him all the time. Yes.
What about now that he's in Bastrop County?
Now that he's in Bastrop County, we will be able to have visitation with him, but I think it's a virtual visitation. It is not like it used to be. But anything is better than nothing. We'll take what we can get.
Talk about what's like being his brother and making sure that that he knows that you're still with him.
Well, all I know that my brother has always been there for me all my life and has been at everything I've ever done. And I know that he loves me and he would do the same for me, so I am paying it forward. I'm doing everything that I know he would do for me.
And excuse me that I don't know this, are you his older brother or younger brother?
I'm his younger brother.
Talk to me a little bit about just this whole journey. There's an appeal coming. How important is that for you and your family and for your big brother?
It's very important because this is a life-changing, life or death situation, and my brother is innocent, and we have mounds of evidence and medical and forensic science proving his innocence, and Bastrop County is not letting us admit this. So this hearing is very crucial to us. If we can get any of that evidence admitted, it is a win for us.
And he's had a few appeal hearings before. What makes this one, you think, different?
This one is different because the whole world's watching. We raised awareness. We got Oprah Winfrey, Kim Kardashian, Meek Mill. We got Dr. Phil. Everybody, the whole world. They've been supported us, been behind us. Countless other stars, and that drew the world into it. So now the world is watching this case. So Bastrop County has got to be careful how they handle this case from here on out.
And then last thing, has he ever been moved from death row to back to Bastrop County Jail?
He has before.
So this is this like different in any way, or is this like
this is different because at that time we didn't have what we have now, so it makes a big difference.
Perfect. Anything else?
Just go to Reed Justice Initiative. Our organization, I'm Vice President. Go to Reed Justice Initiative /events page and keep up with us. Follow us.
Thank you. We're looking forward to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much.
Everybody was like, I want y'all behind me. Signs. Anybody that want to hold a sign, we got signs over here. I want everybody that's going to be involved to get the sign, to get stand behind me.
Thank you, Lily. Love it. Aren't they beautiful?
You just showed them to me, sign.
I just have it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you put them in your front pocket.
Maybe I did.
How did I know?
Oh, I need one of these for my brother. Free Lois, too.
I can make one. We got some. We can make one right now.
I'm going to look at the thread.
Yeah.
I know it's
All right. All right. You gonna do it? God bless you.
I want to thank everybody for coming out. But first, I want to give all honor to God, for with him we can do all things. Without him we can do nothing. And we can get justice if we stand together. Amen. I'd like to say that, this is a very significant hearing that's coming up in my brother's case, because it's an opportunity for us to get justice. It's an opportunity for us to admit some of the mounds of evidence that proves his innocence. And we have been trying to do that for the last going on 24 years. And it's been a long uphill battle, but we've endured. We've weathered the storm and we're still here. And we will go nowhere until justice is had, not just for him, but for Stacey Stites as well. Because as I said before, justice denied is a threat to justice for us all. And all we've ever wanted in my brother's case from day one was a fair trial. That's all we ever asked for. Give us a fair trial. He did not have that. He was not able to call all of his witnesses. He was not able to get all DNA testing done. Still to this day, there's DNA testing that has not been done on the so-called murder weapon. And he's on death row, but there's still testing to be done. It doesn't make sense. I got into this, me and my family, because we knew my brother was innocent. We knew that beyond any shadow of a doubt. But the more years that went on, and the more we started to stand up and fight and see other people going through the same struggle, having the same pain, crying the same tears, it was appalling, and we had to do something about it. So we stepped up and we started trying to help change the system, trying to abolish the death penalty, trying to get justice, trying to be the voice for the people that have no voices. And that's all we had was a voice. We didn't have money, but God gave us a voice and we chose to use that. And we stand on the truth. And we hope that everybody that is hearing this and is seeing this comes out to Bastrop and stand up for truth, right, and justice. Because that is what it is all about in Rodney Reed's case. He's been denied the truth, his right, and justice. So we need to rally behind him, stand in solidarity with him, and fight the fight. Because this is about life and death. His life is on the line. And we do have the medical and forensic science that proves his innocence. And we need the opportunity to present it in court. They have been denying it from day one. And we're tired of that. Now the whole world is watching. The whole world is watching. We've had Oprah. We've had Kim Kardashian. We've had Dr. Phil, Meek Mill, Beyonce, and millions of regular citizens like yourself all over the world rally behind Rodney Reed. And we need to continue to rally behind Rodney Reed because the struggle is real and the fight ensues. So coming next week, my prayer is for justice to rear its head in the courtroom in Bastrop and not be out in the streets where it was when he got convicted. I ask everybody to do all that you can do, and then God will do the rest. I'm gonna close with that because I don't think no more can be said, and I'm gonna introduce some speakers. My first speaker is a former congressional candidate and the director of the Register to Vote, Mr. Mike Siegel.
Good evening, y'all. My name is Mike Siegel. I'm a civil rights lawyer and the political director of Register to Vote in Ground Game, Texas. And I'm here to stand in solidarity with the family of Rodney Reed, Mr. Reed, Sandra Reed, and everyone who's been standing with the Reed family for all of these years of injustice. First of all, I just want to say, I want to send my love and also sincere solidarity for y'all spending yet another so-called Independence Day without Rodney Reed. Because this is a man, a black man from Bastrop County, who has spent countless years locked up without a fair trial, without a fair shot to prove his innocence, in the face of substantial, if not overwhelming evidence that another man committed the crime of murder, that a white former police officer, Jimmy Fennell, a disgraced former police officer who has since been convicted of sex crimes and kidnapping crimes, and it was done 10 years in prison. This is a man who had the motive and the opportunity to commit the murder, but has never been fairly and fully investigated because of, unfortunately, a corrupt criminal justice system in Bastrop County. And so here, today, we're here to ask for justice, to demand justice, and really it comes down to a fair trial. The idea that a man has served so many years on death row in Texas, while the murder weapon has never been subjected to DNA testing, is obscene, absurd, and criminal. This is something that is not difficult to do, and that in countless other situations would have already been done if it was not a black man from Bastrop County in prison for a crime he did not commit. And so that is what we're asking for, a full and fair investigation to consider all the circumstances that show that Mr. Jimmy Fennell had the motive to commit this crime, that in fact he made a confession while in prison on another charge to another individual that has never been fully investigated, that he was going to kill his wife for loving a black man. This has never been investigated. And to me, one of the profound hypocrisies of the situation is that we're in a state of Texas where our lead law enforcement officer, Ken Paxton, has been indicted for a crime for several years and has never faced trial at all. And he's under a second investigation by the FBI, again, for a criminal offense of fraud, and has yet to stand trial. We're in a state where we have a governor, again, one of the top law enforcement officials in the state, who was responsible for tens of thousands of unnecessary deaths during the COVID pandemic, and has never faced accountability. This is a man who was asleep at the wheel while our electric grid turned off and other countless individuals died and suffered during the freeze, and has never faced accountability. But yet a black man from Bastrop County rots in jail, faces yet another so-called Independence Day in prison on death row for a crime he did not commit. So that's why we're here. That's why I'm standing with the family of Rodney Reed to demand justice, to lift this up any way we can. We want as many people as possible to get involved, to understand the story, to share the story, because if we all stand up and raise our voices, maybe justice will prevail here. So thank you all so much for being out here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. That was very powerful. I appreciate it. My family appreciate it. Next, I have a good friend of mine, Miss Delia Miles Perez. She has a brother who is also innocent on Texas death row. One is too many. Two is too damn much. But I want to say, Delia, come forward, please.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to everyone who came. It's always an honor and a blessing to be here with the Reed family. We have stood together for over 23 years, fighting for our innocent brothers on death row, and today is no different. But I would like to ask the kids against the death penalty to come and stand with me, because they have been here since they were toddlers, and to see them all grown up and with us today is such a blessing. And they also have an innocent uncle on death row, the Jeffrey Wood. So again, my name is Delia Perez Meyer. I have an innocent brother on death row as well, Luis Castro Perez. He's been there for over 23 years, or going on 23 years, I should say. And, you know, we have fought so hard for him as well. I am just honored to be here, standing in front of the Capitol, where we have been so many times. All of our abolition groups have come here each session and testified before the criminal jurisprudence committees, the Senate criminal justice committees, and to share our stories. And they have fallen on deaf ears for 23 years. And so it's a little bit difficult, but we're going to continue to fight for our brothers no matter what. And so I just wanted to, I have a few notes, and I'm just going to flip through here. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Reed family, because they have been so strong. And Mrs. Reed is actually visiting Rodney as we speak. And he has been moved here, which is really a great sign in advance of his hearing on the 19th. So I'm so grateful that he's off of death row and he is here, and we hope that he doesn't have to go back there. That is the miracle that we pray for, and the miracle that we believe can happen for him. I want to just give a shout out to several organizations that have been working so hard alongside with us for 23 years, including the Catholic Mobilizing Network. I know that the federal executions are on hold as of this week, and we're very excited. We are thrilled, finally, that our Attorney General has stood up and said we're going to put these on pause, because we know that these horrible chemicals they inject into these bodies are causing these people to writhe in pain. And there's other states that are offering for you to get shot in the heart or you to be electrocuted. All of these are barbaric and unnecessary, and we are here to stop it. We have to stop it. It's got to stop. There's an organization called the Death Penalty Information Center. Anything you want to know about the death penalty in Texas and every other state is there. There's a wonderful report this month that talks about mass incarceration, the Black Lives Matter movement, the race and the history of the death penalty that includes the lynch mobs, the KKK, not just blacks and whites, but Latinos, Native Americans, every group that you can imagine is listed there. Talks about prosecutorial misconduct, bad jury selection or jury selection that is tainted. You have to be for the death penalty to be on a jury in Texas. Did you know that? You have to be for the death penalty. You have to be willing to kill someone. That is not a jury of your peers. Talks about the slave plantations in Angola. And we have several friends that were released from Louisiana death rows because they were innocent. Those are our friends, the exonerees, and they are usually with us, and they are here with us today in heart and spirit and soul. And that's the Witness to Innocence organization. I attended an execution, 2 executions in the past 2 weeks. Quentin Jones was executed, and I was chosen to go in to witness and view the body after he was murdered by the state of Texas. And if it's something that I never ever want to do again, I never want to see again, but to watch a body that has been injected with these horrific chemicals still shiver, shake, and writhe right in front of you is the most horrific thing that anybody will ever witness. Very few people get in to witness an actual execution, but to witness the 5 to 10 minutes after he was killed, murdered by the state of Texas, it's just a horrific scene, and that we need to stop it. Shouldn't be done. We executed John Hummel on the 30th. I was also there. It's very tragic, another travesty. Another horrific thing for the state of Texas to be doing is to be executing our citizens. Whether they're innocent or not, we have to stop the killing. We have to stop it. We have several executions coming up. Ruben Gutierrez, Ramiro Gonzalez. And then the last thing I want to say is that we had our 28th fast and vigil in Washington, D.C. And I was not there for the first time in 15 years. The Reed family was there 2 years ago. And we stand before the courts just like this, and we educate people about the death penalty and the atrocity of the death penalty across the world. So today I am grateful to all of my friends and family and our friends and families from around the world that were at the fast and vigil for 4 days, didn't eat a thing for 4 days. We appreciate them and we love them. We thank you very much for being here today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, kids. Kids Against the Death Penalty. Thank you.
Y'all guys can stand there if y'all like. It's up to you. And riding on that note, I and my family was there in Terre Haute, Indiana, when Donald Trump was doing those federal executions there. We were there to protest that. We have been going all over the country trying to abolish the death penalty, because it started about Rodney, but it became a bigger picture, a much bigger picture. And we're in this for life. We're in this until we abolish the death penalty. Then we'll find something else to do. But until then, we're here. We're here. Our next speaker is a friend of mine. She's an attorney, an activist, and she is part of Reed Justice Initiative, Miss Lizzie Bunker.
Hey, so I just want to echo what everyone has said, which is that we appreciate everyone that came out today. One thing, I've been on this case now with the Reed family for about 2 years, and the thing that strikes me about Rodney's case is the number of victims in this case. So Rodney's obviously innocent and on death row. After Jimmy Finnell murdered Stacey, 2 of his own colleagues, police officers, suspected him, and they both ended up murdered. Ed Salmella, his family was told that he committed suicide, except the bullet hole was in his left temple and he's right-handed. Gary Joe Bryant was murdered several months later. He also suspected Jimmy Finnell, and his family was told that the man that murdered him, they deported him back to Mexico. So neither of those families got justice. They both were murdered because they suspected Jimmy. And then Jimmy proceeded, as Mike Siegel told everyone, to go and rape someone, and he was so confident that he would be protected that he raped the woman in his police car, in his police uniform. So when the state protects Jimmy and doesn't hold him accountable, they open up the doors for him to go and continue to commit heinous crimes. At this point, the state is defending a serial killer while scapegoating Rodney Reed. Another victim of this case was a woman that was called to testify during the sentencing hearing, and she said she felt so guilty testifying because she knew he was being framed. That woman has lived under a bridge for 13 years, and she carries that guilt with her because the state refuses to take responsibility for this case. And as a woman with empathy, she took it all, the burden on herself. So it's not just Rodney. Obviously, Rodney is the most pressing because he's on death row and he's been threatened with an execution date twice. But the number of victims in this case is astounding. It includes 2 white police officers, a white woman, several people. So there's no reason that no matter what demographic, what political beliefs, you should not care about this case. And that is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Lizzie. And the next is a good friend of mine. One of the first persons to come to us, the Reed family, back in the early 2000s and gave us a venue to speak, to use our voice. She was part of the campaign to end the death penalty Texas chapter. She's an activist, and she is also now part of Reed Justice Initiative, Miss Lily Hughes.
Okay, we chose this day because it is the 4th of July weekend, and we felt that it was significant to say something about freedom and justice. This country that we live in was built on slavery, and millions of people lived in chattel slavery in this country for many years, including at the time of our first Independence Day. We all know that story. But it continues today. In today's America, there are 2.3 million people in prison, many of them for nonviolent crimes, serving long and harsh sentences, including sentences like life without parole, which is just as barbaric as the death penalty. And when we talk about freedom and we talk about this country and what our country was built on, we need to recognize that it has not been freedom and justice for all people in America for hundreds of years, and it remains that way today. So we have to try to take the imagery of today, and that's why we have all these flags, but we wanted our flags to say something else, not about patriotism or about upholding a country which is allowing police officers to kill its citizens in the street, which is separating children from their families at the border and wasting billions of dollars on a useless border wall, which has, like as Mike Siegel mentioned, which has allowed thousands of people to die in a pandemic that could have been prevented. So this country, today we're here to talk about a different vision for our country, and this is a part of that fight. A lot of us here today We are against the death penalty. We stand with Rodney Reed, but we are also against racism, against bigotry in all its forms, and really for true justice and freedom for all peoples that live here in this country and all over this world. I'm going to end with a little quote that I love from Eugene Debs, who was a socialist in the early 1900s. And he ran for president and got many million votes, and was also a civil rights attorney during that time. And he went to prison because of his activism, and he wrote this while in prison, and he said, "While there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. And while there is a soul in prison, I am not free." And I feel that same way. While Rodney is in jail, while Lewis is in jail, while Jeff is in jail, and while countless 2.3 million people are in prison across this country, none of us are free. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know that since my brother has been locked up, it's been like a one long nightmare that we can't wake up from, and I've been locked up with him, you know, a part of me, you know, because my life, as I know it, came to a halt to stand up and try to get justice for him. But God is good, and he has great things in store for not just my brother, myself, but for all of us. If we stand up and band together as a community, a state, and a nation, we can abolish this death penalty. Our next person to speak is a good friend of mine as well, Crystal Bird Cavill.
No, you did. It's fine. Hi. Thank you all for being here. On July 5th, 1852, Frederick Douglass stood before an abolitionist group and delivered one of his most famous speeches. What to the slave is the 4th of July? And here we stand today, on July 3rd, 2021, still delivering impassioned speeches for the liberation of our own who are in bondage. This, for the purpose of this celebration, is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and of your political freedom. Fellow citizens, I shall not presume to dwell at length on the associations that cluster about this day. The simple story of it is that 76 years ago, the people of this country were British subjects. Oppression makes a wise man mad. Your fathers were wise men, and if they did not go mad, they became restive under this treatment. They felt themselves the victims of grievous wrongs. With brave men, there is always a remedy for oppression. They succeeded, and today you reap the fruits of their success. The freedom gained is yours, and you, therefore, may properly celebrate this anniversary. Fellow citizens, pardon me, allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. The 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice. I must mourn. Do you mean to mock me by asking me to speak today? Fellow citizens, above your national tumultuous joy, I hear the mournful wail of millions. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability and could I reach the nation's ear, I would today pour out a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, and the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed. And its crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty and unholy license, your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all of your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. Allow me to say, in conclusion, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the State of the Union, I do not despair this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work for the downfall of slavery. The arm of the Lord is not shortened, and the doom of slavery is certain. I therefore leave off where I began, with hope. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be happy and free. Free Rodney Reed.
Free Rodney Reed.
Free Rodney Reed.
Free Rodney Reed!
Free Rodney Reed.
Free Rodney Reed!
Free Rodney Reed.
Free Rodney Reed! I'd like to thank each and every one of the speakers that came out tonight. I'd like to thank everybody, the media, everybody that showed up, because it means the world to us. You're getting our story out there, you're getting the truth out there, and that's what we got to have to make a difference. And I appreciate you guys for showing up. And everybody, I encourage you to come to the event on the 17th and come to the hearing that will take place on the 19th. And let's make a difference. Let's make a change. Let's make this world better and get justice for everybody. Yeah. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Free Rodney Reed!
Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed! Free Rodney Reed!